South Carolina managed just 2 wins in 2020, but they now get the benefit of some easy non-conference games back on the schedule, and we're going to project what their record could be in 2021. I want to make it very clear that this is not an official prediction from SG1. This is simply a projection based on their odds to win each game, based on the strength of their schedule, really, is how we're doing this. So again, this is the schedule for South Carolina. 2-8 last year, a schedule with some games that they should be able to win this year, but also some very difficult games. Again, it's going to be tough for them. This is how we break it down. This is the percentages that we're going to be using here, and we'll be using these colors to determine which games go into which category. So if it stays in white, it'll be basically a 50-50 game, a game that could go either way. Red will be less than a 10% chance to win, 10 to 25%. In orange, 26 to 40%. In yellow, 60 to 74. In purple, 75 to 90. In blue, and then if they have over a 90% chance to win, the game will be in green. And I really only have one green game for them. That is Eastern Illinois. It's an FCS team. I just don't really see any way South Carolina loses this game, so we can give them that one easy win, which is pretty much a guaranteed win. Now we go to the blue games, games that they should be able to win, games where it would be a pretty big surprise if they were to get upset. They're going to be double-digit favorites in these games, and I think we got a couple of non-conference games we can put here. East Carolina, the game is on the road. It's not going to be a game. I don't think either one of these games are going to be games where they're going to be able to just show up and win. I mean, they'll probably have to play for 4 quarters, but they should be able to control the game, should be able to win both of these matchups. Again, would be very surprising if they were to get upset. So that's 3 wins, and the way we do this, if it's in the blue or the green, those are counted as wins when we do the projection. So that's 3 wins, not guaranteed, but pretty much guaranteed that they'll get these 3 wins. Now we go to the purple, games that are 60 to 74%, and obviously that's a big range, and some games are going to be closer to 60, some games closer to 74, but we had to kind of separate this somehow. And Vanderbilt would be the one game I'd put into that category. South Carolina should be favored, I think, by at least a touchdown in this one. Vanderbilt was awful last year. They have a new head coach. Maybe they get a little bit better, but I think South Carolina is still clearly the favorite in this matchup, and we're going to say that they should be able to win that one. Now, let's go to the other side of this and the games that where they're going to be underdogs. And I think you have a few games here where they will be pretty big underdogs, double-digit underdogs. That's Georgia on the road. That's Texas A&M on the road. Also Florida and Clemson. Now, if they were able to somehow pull off a big upset again, that Florida game would be the one where they might could do it. But they're still going to be at least a 10-point underdog in this matchup. I feel pretty confident in that. So, while Florida might be closer to 25%, Georgia might be closer to 10%. We again will put all of these games in this category. Now, how about the games in yellow? 26 to 40% chance to win. I got a couple of those. Actually, 3 of those. Kentucky, Missouri, and Auburn. Kentucky, I still think, is a better team right now than South Carolina. It's close to 40% for South Carolina. This is definitely not anywhere near a 26% game. But I do like Kentucky. I think they'll be favored by about a touchdown. Same thing with Missouri on the road. Quality team. I think South Carolina will be an underdog here. And I know they beat Auburn last year, but I feel like they will more than likely be underdogs this year. That game last year was, outside of the norm. I mean, when you look at how the teams finished the year, it's still kind of surprising as to how South Carolina won that game. But these games, I think, again, they'll be underdogs, but they'll have a chance. They'll have a chance in these matchups. So if you can win these 3 games, plus win those 3 earlier, you're already at 6 wins. You're already at a bowl game, but there's still Tennessee here, and that's another game that they could potentially win. Tennessee is going to be down this year. I mean, they could be really bad. We'll see how it plays out. They've got a new coach. They have players transferring out of there left and right. They have all kinds of problems at Tennessee right now. So this is a game that South Carolina could absolutely win. I would probably even favor the Gamecocks, but with the game being on the road, really, it's right there at the 50% mark. I think this is one that could really go either way. But, if I had to pick, I would pick South Carolina. So that means you've got 7 games that are reasonably winnable for South Carolina. They're not going to be favored in 7 games, but they'll have a realistic chance to win 7 games this year. That's probably about the best case scenario. But for the projection, what we're going to do is we're going to divide all the games up that are not counted as wins. So we're talking 75% and up, and the games that are not counted as losses that are 25% or down, because those are wins, those are losses. So then we average out the rest. And for South Carolina, when you look at these other games, you got Kentucky, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Auburn. So you've got really 5 games. Those 5 games are going to determine the season for South Carolina. Those 5 games. So, I mean, if you were to win all 5 of those, and I think I left out Vanderbilt earlier, if you win all 5 of those, plus win the 3 games that they should win, 8 wins is possible, but that would be the absolute best case scenario, and I think that's very unlikely. On the flip side, let's say they do beat Vanderbilt, but they lose the other 4 games that they're supposed to lose. Then again, you could beat 5 and 7. So if you average it all out, the projection for South Carolina, just because of the fact that they are going to be underdogs against Kentucky, Missouri, and Auburn, the projection is 5 and 7 for this South Carolina team. 5 and 7 for South Carolina. Again, that means the 3 wins, the 3 easy wins, plus Vanderbilt, and then out of Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri, Auburn, they would be projected to win 1 of those 4 games and finish 5 and 7. But I will say that when you look at the math here, they're closer to 6 and 6 than they are to 4 and 8. So 5 and 7 for South Carolina, but I think 6 and 6 in a bowl game is possible. Probably unlikely, but it's possible. And so I think that's really the goal if you're South Carolina this year. Get to a bowl game. Get to 6 and 6. I think that would be a successful year for them. It's going to be, again, tough to do that, but not impossible. Not impossible. Again, if you can win those 3 games you're supposed to win, beat Vanderbilt, beat Tennessee, which is a very winnable game, then all you got to do out of Kentucky, Missouri, and Auburn, you just need to win 1 of those games. Again, it is doable. It's going to be tough, but it's doable. And again, you circle back and you say, well, they could lose to Tennessee, and there goes that plan, because that's not going to be, that's, again, a 50-50 game. And that's why when you average it all out, the projection for South Carolina does come out to 5 and 7. So what do you guys think about the Gamecocks? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think their record is going to be? Again, this is not an official prediction, simply a projection based off of their strength of schedule. And the projection for South Carolina in 2021, 5 and 7.